All right, welcome everybody to this review of Chapter 13 of The Mandalorian. I'm just waiting for a call transmission here.
Admiral, receiving transmission from Scarif.
All right, Ged, welcome. Coming all the way from Scarif. How's it going?
It is. It's wonderful. It's very hot here. It's amazing. After a slight incident a few years ago, they're just giving vacations away over here.
Yeah, thank God they only used one reactor ignition on that place. I was able to recover.
Absolutely, Expedia discounting all this stuff.
Okay, everyone knows
what we're.
First,
though, man, thanks for having me on. Like I said, I'm away on vacation, so I'm super excited to be here, and obviously from what we just saw, just thanks again for having me.
Yeah, man, thanks for joining on your vacation. I can't believe you're wasting your time this early in the morning for this.
It's early, I won't lie.
Yeah. All right, so let's just get right into it here. So on Chapter 13, The Jedi.
Mando goes shopping for baby names.
Baby Yoda learns to play catch.
Mando receives the world's largest toothpick.
And Dave Filoni pens a love letter to the fans.
You and I.
All right, Ged. It's going to be very difficult to not discuss spoilers for this one. But overall, you got any initial thoughts of what we just witnessed?
Well, without giving away any spoilers, what I'll say is there was a lot of anticipation to this episode. And Dave Filoni was up to a potentially very large task. And I do not believe that he disappointed. That's about as vague and cryptic as I can be without saying anything.
Given the episode title and who wrote and directed this, I think everyone knows what was going to happen. And the big question was, would it meet what fans were looking for? And I'd say for the most part, this was a huge success. This is a great episode. Again, it looks beautiful. It was like the pace was excellent. It was, end to end. Yeah, that's pretty much all we can really say.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'm starting to really admire about this series is, most series you watch are 42 minutes in length or 22 minutes in length or 59 minutes in length. They're really not bound by the constraints of time. There's been episodes that have been an hour, 34 minutes. I think this one was 45 minutes. Like, they're not afraid to play with time as much as they want to deliver the message properly.
Yeah. All right. So spoilers. Let's just get into it. Okay, good. Yeah. Ahsoka Tano, what was your thought about how she was shown in this episode?
I think it was as good as it possibly could have been. I mean, depicted in Clone Wars and in Rebels, I mean, she moves with uncanny speed. I mean, her agility, like her ability to cover mass amounts of area with one single jump. I mean, she was arguably the quickest Jedi I ever got to bear witness to in those two incredible series. So I think that when we said in the intro was that, they had a potentially very difficult task. How do you take a human being and get them to flow that well? Yeah. And man, I was not disappointed. I mean, that is a tough costume to put together.
Overall, I thought well done. I've noticed a couple things that were interesting choices. The Togruta head tendrils, I don't know what you want to call them, her headpiece, was a lot smaller than what we saw in Rebels. Did you find that? It looked more Clone Wars-esque than Rebels.
It definitely looked more Clone Wars, yeah. 100%.
Again, don't have a problem with it. It might have been hard to move with that much extra weight. I don't know what it is. It might have made sense for the live action, but that I thought when she got to Rebels, she obviously got older and things grew out, and I thought they went back a little bit on that.
I found the headpiece or her depiction in Rebels a little too big.
Yeah.
So I actually enjoyed the throwback to Clone Wars.
And again, maybe that was the art style of Rebels too, right? Like maybe they accentuated that a little bit. And then what did you think of Rosario Dawson's voice? So at first I was like, it's gonna be weird not hearing Ashley Eckstein, but I felt like with the older Ahsoka, right? She's a little bit older. The voice change kind of works for me.
Yes, Yeah, I would have to absolutely agree. I mean, it's been easy because Kate Sackhoff plays Bo-Katan. Like the voices are literally the exact same, but I think that it was done very well. Yeah. I mean, the aging process is perfect in that.
Yeah, and then so just some other things. Were you surprised with how fast we see her? Like literally, the opening 2 seconds is lightsabers flying,
and it's wicked. It's good to see she's still rocking the white sabers.
Yeah, and a great choice of using that kind of, well, you can see my background, kind of that really dark, dim lighting, so the contrast with the sabers like pops that much more. Absolutely. Right in the blaster fire, and the whole like de-igniting her sabers and she would just disappear and then reappear. Like it was so,
very Ahsoka.
Yeah, very assassin-like as she moved through everybody, right?
Yep, and that I think was a great ode to the way that she was in those others, because she was always very stealth. She was always ready to move away. It wasn't like her old master Anakin, who would go in head first, fully visible, and hack and slash. Like she always had the ability to move through that crowd with stealth-like ability, right?
Yeah. And like even like you mentioned her running and stuff like that. She even had the lean, you know what I mean? How she runs in Clone Wars. I noticed that.
Absolutely.
All right. So while we're still on Ahsoka, it's good to see her narrative isn't going to transform into the Mandalorians. She's dead-eyed focused still on Grand Admiral Thrawn. It's great getting the name drop in live action. But it's also great seeing that her mission still isn't accomplished and she's still going after it. There's obviously maybe some concern that Mandalorian show might become partly Ahsoka show, but the way it's set up is it's clearly going to be Ahsoka has her own agenda, own quest, and it doesn't look like she's going to be teaming up. At least, like, I don't know. I think everyone thinks they might see her in the finale, but it doesn't look like their stories are really going to be interwoven that much.
I don't know. I still think that she's going to play a key role when it comes to Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan's ability to recapture the Darksaber. My hope is that this is not a one-off. She may not become the new sidekick on the Razor Crest. However, I will be a little bummed if Chapter 13 is the one time that we see Ahsoka Tano.
It's interesting because to me it feels like they're setting up like this was the test appearance for that Grand Admiral Thrawn Rebels sequel. You know what I mean? Like this was your test teaser. Like, will this type of thing work? And I think they've answered that question for sure. And if they can make Ahsoka look that good on screen and for a television show, right? Like how crisp and good the lightsabers and everything looks like, you could easily drop Ezra Bridger in there, you know, in whatever future series they're in.
100%.
So
also, sorry, just on a quick side note before we jump off of that, I made the joke with the world's largest toothpick. That could absolutely, by the way, be a formidable weapon against Moff Gideon. Like if there is no Ahsoka Tano intervention when Moff Gideon and Bo-Katan cross paths, that weapon as pure Beskar could absolutely be used in that fight.
Oh, against the Darksaber, yeah. Oh,
you got it. Because they need something, right? I'm like, well, what's going to be able to battle Moff Gideon? You're going to need a lightsaber. When we watched that battle with Ahsoka Tano and the Magistrate, I mean, there was no piercing that Beskar. Like it was an absolute fight. Maybe that's the weapon that's going to be yielded in the battle against Moff Gideon.
Yeah, totally. That's, we talk about being a quest show, right? He just picked up that new weapon like Legend of Zelda that he's going to need for the next boss, right? I initially thought when he got that, he's just going to melt that sucker down and make something else for his armor. But that'll definitely potentially serve a role. Huge role.
Okay, so let's can we just get into this baby name thing?
All right, let's get into the child. So Baby Yoda is named Grogu. Do you see anyone calling him Grogu after being called the child or Baby Yoda for so long?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that almost in that fatherly figure, I think Mando's going to use his name when the child's in trouble. Like, remember when you were a kid and your mother used your first, middle, and last name and you knew you were into it, like you knew it was over?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that when he gets mad at the child, you're going to see him, pop out the actual name.
So let's sit there for a second. How did you feel about the naming and the backstory of Yoda? I couldn't help, my initial feeling was like they kind of went in the Solo direction of this, and to the point where, did we need it? I know they were looking to get answers, but was it something we needed it? You think so? Yeah.
Absolutely. Because all I could think about was the third movie and what happened at the Jedi Temple when it all went sideways, and knowing that he was actually part of the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, and that he had been training for years, and someone snuck him out safely. I mean, yeah. Oh my God, yeah, because it was a great nod to the third movie. And anytime you can show any of the prequels in a positive light, I think we need to embrace that and love it.
Yeah, I guess that's the callback to the prequels is probably a nice there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I liked it. I also think it was important that she said that she alluded to the fact that he wasn't naturally born with his ability to wield the Force. Yeah, I like that she went in and said that that this takes years and years of training, and that he had purposely been hiding them for survival. It's
interesting, right? Like, The Last Jedi is canon, and that showed us that a boy with no training could, force grab a broom with his hands, right? But they make the point here, he was actually trained as a youngling on Coruscant, which is why he has some of these abilities. And I guess mostly we have seen him just using the Force to move objects, but I guess if we go back to the whole Force healing and stuff like that, I guess he would have kind of more advanced powers, right? So it would make sense that he would have had some sort of training in that regard.
I just hope we don't see a microscopic sized lightsaber at some point. That would be a little too much, I think.
Did you also, I don't know if this was supposed to be a joke or not, but when Ahsoka says, "I like firsts, good or bad, they're always memorable," what did you think about when she said that?
I was trying to figure out if it was a reference, and in the moment I couldn't figure out if she could be alluding to something.
Well, my mind immediately went dirty there. I thought she was talking about your first time, good or bad, it's memorable.
Well, you would think of any of the two of us, it would be me.
Yeah, it'd be you, and that's what I thought of right off the get-go. I was like, is that coming out of Ahsoka's mouth? What's going on?
Yeah. What have you been up to? Our Jedi, I can't do that. Jedi aren't allowed to love.
Yeah. So let's get into the one last kind of main plot point that was kind of dangled at the end. So Ahsoka's not taking the child, which I think a lot of people were worried that she was going to just take the child from Mando and that was going to be it. So it makes sense. She's going after Thrawn. She's not taking the child. So she sends him. Now he has to go to a new planet and has to place this baby on the Seeing Stone, whatever they called it, at this temple. And then if a Jedi Master or a Jedi Knight would be able to sense you, is that referring to Luke Skywalker? And does Ahsoka maybe know that Luke is an active Jedi and he's actively building up a Jedi temple, right? He's recruiting Force users. So is that her way of saying, if Yoda wants to be trained or Grogu wants to be trained, he'll be able to project that out in the Force and Luke Skywalker will come looking?
I would think so, because you're right. I mean, this is right around the time where Ben Solo's a child and Luke's gathering a bunch of people to
he's just starting building, right? He's a couple years maybe into the process right now. So
I don't know if you'll ever see the child being handed over.
No?
Because let's be honest, I mean, the child's become as important as the Mandalorian in the show Mandalorian. Not only from just a pure character, but how it is evolving Mando's actual character, how it's evolving his personality, the traits towards being a father figure. Ahsoka Tano referring to in this episode, you're like a father to him.
And
he has such a strong bond with him. Yeah. Well, and if the Force is the life essence that binds us all together, do you really think that the Force would allow the child and Mando to be separated?
Yeah, and
I'm gonna say no.
maybe when he takes him that stone, Yoda doesn't reach out in the Force. He chooses to stay with the Mando, right?
Yeah.
Then the Mando could sharpen those Force abilities to use them
That's
for
it.
bounty hunting.
So just maybe play some more catch.
Yeah. Okay, good. I got a couple Easter eggs I saw in the episode I just want to quickly shout out before we wrap up here. Did
right.
you notice, and forgive me, people who know the actual name, you know the owl that's always following Ahsoka around? You know in Rebels, it's like sitting on top of the World of Worlds, it's always following.
Yeah.
Did you see it in this episode?
No.
So when Mando's going to look for Ahsoka and he's walking through the bush, he said the coordinates, this must be right. The camera pans up and on a branch, you could see the owl sitting there in the background.
No.
I saw it, I was like, nice. I know you knew Dave was going to put that in there.
Well played. No, I totally missed that. Mind you, I am staring at this on a very small screen in a hotel room. So
yeah. The other thing I thought was interesting was the droids, the assassin droids they're using were HK-87s, which obviously must be a newer form of HK-47, which is one of some people's favorite character from the Knights of Old Republic.
Yeah.
Era.
I figured there was a relation there a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. The villain, Morgan Elsbeth.
I'll tell you what I loved though was her formidable battle.
Yeah.
It wasn't a pushover. I didn't realize, I'm sure you, like me, like anyone else who's watched it, was a little surprised that was actually a fight.
I think a lot of fans were, or even I had thought, if Ahsoka was going to light her lightsabers up and have to fight, it'd have to be some formidable enemy. And obviously, it seemed just like a Clone Wars or Rebel story, right? They found this little community that was in trouble, and Ahsoka had to get to go. And it kind of showed you in the same light how powerful she is, but also on how easy it actually could be to overwhelm a Jedi, right? So it also shows grounds her a little bit, right? The power. Yeah.
It also shows her depth of compassion. You know, after everything that Ahsoka's been through, you would think that she'd kind of sort of give up on people. But she's still willing to put herself out there to help a community. I mean, I'm assuming she doesn't know anybody in that village other than trying to get information from the magistrate. But the first thing she says to Mando is make sure those people are freed. Sorry, I didn't mean up there. I just like her compassion for human life has not dwindled at all. And you would think that if anybody's would have, she'd be the one person that could become that bitter recluse.
Yeah, for sure. All right, good. All
right.
We both love this one, so sign us off from Scarif.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for having me down here in beautiful Scarif, aka St. Lucia, where I've got to spend the last week. Tyler, again, thanks for getting up at an ungodly early hour and allowing me to take part in this. I mean, this was amazing. What an episode. Cannot wait till next week. Please drop a like, smash a subscribe. I figure it's better if I say it instead of you, because it's your channel. It kind of looks like you're groveling. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. Cannot wait till next time.
All right. Thanks, kid. Enjoy your vacation.
Take care.
Later.